Hi again, pilgrims, and thanks for joining us once again on this newest episode of the Walking for Peace podcast, where both Alberto and I are sitting here together, looking back 25 years later on the pilgrimage that we took walking from Rome to Jerusalem, really looking at it though through a more contemplative lens, especially through the teachings of A Course in Miracles, the teaching that has most influenced, I would say, our lives and our way of looking at things for the past 5, 6 years or more, I would say. And sitting with me here, as always, is my mighty companion, Alberto Agrasso. Hi, Alberto.
Hello.
Hello. So, what do you think about all the things that we have been talking about in these last episodes? We've done about 15 episodes together so far, and it amazes me still that there are still so many quiet revelations, so many new ways of understanding things that we didn't really appreciate when we first went through the process. The first time we went through this journey, if you will, was I guess 13 years ago or so, 12 years ago, when we first wrote the book and we went through our diaries for the first time, and we could only explain it up to a certain point because our understanding had only come to a certain point. But I think the Course in Miracles has really offered us another way of just completely expanding our perspective and looking at everything through, I would say, an even more loving, more healing, more liberating lens, and to really look upon everything that apparently happened in this in this dream through the perspective or through the loving gaze of one who knows exactly how to interpret everything that we, in our limited understanding, are only capable of receiving and understanding up to a certain point. And the more you walk this path, the more that we are willing to be open to hearing his voice, to feeling his, her, its, their presence in our lives. And that presence, the Course calls the Holy Spirit, or we can call it the inner teacher or master. The more we are willing to be receiving that information or that clarity from him, the more we are able to get to this place of peace, and that place of clarity. And that's something that has been incredibly, for me anyways, very fulfilling, very liberating, just to be able to sit with the spirit, to sit with the inner teacher and just say, how do you interpret this for me, rather than me, Moni, alone, trying to come up with her own interpretations. And if there's one thing I would like to say before we dive into this particular episode, is to remember that loving presence, that what the Course also calls the voice that speaks for God, the voice for truth, the one who knows us in our wholeness and our fullness, the one who knows us in our light, but also understands how we have put ourselves and gotten ourselves into the situations and the messes and the misunderstandings, really, that we have gotten ourselves into. That presence is with us always in every moment. And it is to it, him, her, that we now give everything that we are about to discuss. I'm not going to say we invite him here because he's always here.
Yeah,
He's
but we
always
are
with us, but we are making that present, we are making ourselves aware and
exactly.
inviting perhaps everyone with us here listening today to also become aware that it is his presence, her presence, that is now guiding the words that we speak and guiding whatever it is that we are going to be offering in this particular conversation. Alberto?
Yeah. Then what was the question?
I have no question. Yeah, I know.
No, it's kidding. I know the question. Yeah, one thing in these episodes that we are having in this podcast, one of the things that is more interesting to me is to look at the way that we saw things at that time, how we understood, how we interpreted things at that time, and that is something beautiful. Is that the more important thing I would say is that we were following signs. We
True.
already were listening the what you have called the inner master, the guide. We were already in the path because we had put ourselves aside, and we recognized that we didn't know, and we were following the signs and the clear guidance of something that already knew. And that thing that already knew was love. And all this we knew already at that time. Then we were in a very good place. What I can see is that still it's like the course say, and we knew at then too that we are like some kind of this life is some kind of a classroom where we are learning. Still, there are many things that we don't know, and we are being pointed the way. At that time, still we thought, and maybe more you than me, that we were being pointed to goals, to goals in the world. Still, things that we needed to do in the world.
In the world, I see.
In the world, and I thought that too. But I think you were more oriented in that way. But we were in the good place that we recognized that we didn't know, and we needed to be guided. And that was what put us in that journey, no, in this journey to Jerusalem. Then we were in a good place, and we were with a good attitude, but still there were many things still that we needed to learn. And then for that precisely was this journey. For that reason was the journey. Then what I see now when I look at myself 25 years ago, I see how I am very curious and interested in to see how I interpreted things still for what the Course will say that is separation. Still, I believe it that I was a separate self and a separate soul, we could say, in a body, and still I was thinking that things were happening to me, more that I was in some way the Course will say projecting, or I was putting there outside reflections of my own thinking and my own belief of that time. The good thing is our history in this walk to Jerusalem, little by little is bringing us closer and closer to this truth, because that was the intention, or one of the intentions of our guide, or of life, of God, to put us in that journey, because we allow it and we want it. And it was bringing us closer to the power of mind that we have,
Indeed.
that we are one, and that we needed to be aware of our thoughts and our belief, and we needed to be aware to release them, to release what we thought that was things and truth and what we were, we could get a deeper and more truthful truth, we could say, no?
We could be closer to truth.
Closer to truth.
Yes.
Yeah. Then it's beautiful to see this. How it's like we sit today to watch a movie, or to read a novel.
That's right.
Or a book, or something based in true facts, in real facts in our life, because this happened. All these stories that we are talking about, they really happen. It's not fiction. It's not invention. It's not fantasy. It really, we live it, these experiences, but. Yeah, it's like we are watching a movie where we know very well the characters.
Yeah.
We were that characters in the past, and we know already from now where all the script is bringing us to the conclusions. It's like we are expecting. We know the final. We know the ending. We know the resolve of maybe not the total ending, but we know where this is bringing us to the resolve of the mystery. We are seeing what was the things that we didn't know at then, because now we know the answers, and now we know why things happen in the way that happen, and all the problems that we thought that we have, because that they were coming from outside. Now we understood that were only things that we needed to, we were putting there, but at the same time we needed to live and to learn from them, for that to come arrive to the conclusions that we were the ones that were putting the things there in that way. You understand what I mean? Then in that way, I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful, and it's a lesson in humility. We could say, but at the same time, it's interesting because I think what I'm sure that what we were living in our story, in this journey, in our odyssey, we could say that was our odyssey, is that what everybody is living. Every soul that comes to this world is and to this dream, the course will say, is living the same journey. It's a journey from forgetting or from don't know who you are, towards to know who you are and to know what is happening in this experience that you are having in this world. Then for that I say I compare that like a long big movie with so many experiences, but that we have lived and still we are living. Because we are living today, we are doing the same that we were doing at then, but now we are doing from this knowing more closely and more certain. We are more certain about what is really happening and about this guidance that is bringing us, and we feel more close to the end of the journey that never we felt. Then I think to finish already my long. You ask it. You ask it. I'm sorry, but I am answering. Then to finish, I will say that this is the journey that all we need to do, in different forms, in different circumstances, depending of our life, from where we think that we come from, and all our ideas and beliefs. Maybe the form or the shape or the circumstance change, but the journey that all we are doing is the same. It's the journey from what we believe that we are and what is the world, toward what is really the world and what really are you. No, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see it, because now we see we understand very clearly. Yeah, we had this problem, we had these emotions, and all these derivated in another things, in another problems, in another emotions. We see through the hands of the Spirit, the hands of the universe, the hands of life of God, how it was helping us all in any moment that we open ourselves to listen, and we ask it for help. We receive help in many beautiful ways. We see all this, and it really is beautiful to see that and to see ourselves in that way. And I think we can see ourselves with love, like everybody should see itself, because we deserve love. We are doing what we can with what we know, and that is beautiful. And the ending is inevitable. The ending is inevitable, because it's that love that is guiding us, and that love that we already are is what is waiting for us at the end of the journey, at the end of the road.
I think that's really wonderfully said when you look at it that way, and when you say to look at that younger self, or that self that was trying to do the best that they could with what they knew at that moment. And you're right. I think the biggest journey was the awareness that nothing is happening to you, but you are your beliefs, your fears, your worries, your judgments, the image that you have painted of yourself. This is what you are seeing outside. This is what you are really putting outside, and that's what you're interacting with. But because it feels so real, it makes you believe that there are, other people out there who are judging you and attacking you and condemning you and not understanding you. Whereas in truth, it's all coming from inside the mind that, like you were saying, that believes it is separate from its brothers, that believes that it is alone, that it is far away from love, that it is misunderstood. And this is what this pilgrimage was revealing over and over again. But we weren't in that place yet. And I know, especially for me, although I believed that peace began within, the very Gandhi concept of, be the peace you want to see in the world, I still had the belief that I was doing all the right things and everybody else was not. That here I am, trying to kind of find that peace, be clear on that peace, develop, because I felt back then I was developing it in me. I didn't have the vision which the Course gives you of, you are already peace, you're already light, you're already love, you're already joy, you're already whole, you're already one with your Creator and all of your brothers. You have just simply forgotten that, and you have covered it with a whole bunch of other beliefs and ideas about who you are that make you believe that you are separate in a body, your thoughts in your mind separated from other thoughts and other minds. And that's the illusion that you're in. That's what each one of us is. This is the movie that each one of us is in, playing out whatever, as you said so wisely, the different forms. Well, that movie can be infinite movies, but the unifying theme of all these movies is the belief that you can be separate from love, or that you are separate from love, from your Creator, from all of your brothers, all of our brothers, and all of creation, and the real self that we are. And so that's the only error, because even the Course says it in a very, very simple way. It says there is only one error and one solution, one mistake, one solution. The mistake, you think you're separate from love. The solution, remember, return your awareness to the truth that you can never be separate from love. But nobody can impose that on you. And that's something that, we've talked about in other episodes. Love, Spirit, the teacher, will never impose that on us. He cannot. All he can do is wait for us to be willing to say, well, maybe there's another way to look at this. Maybe my understanding is not complete, and there's something missing here. There's got to be another way. And so the willingness just to be a little bit open is the invitation for that loving presence to make itself clear, or to start to use your environment, your beliefs, your experiences to kind of bring you to that other understanding that you're looking for. Yeah. So I think that was kind of where I was as well. I wasn't like you. I still felt that I'm doing all the right things, but nobody else is. And so I've got to, with the right things that I'm doing, I'm going to go out there and convince other people and change other people and make sure that we build peace and that we do all the things we have to do together. Mass consciousness, everybody together, join together, working for peace. And so that's where I was. And the Holy Spirit cannot work beyond what I am willing to offer him. I wasn't willing to challenge that belief yet. And so he can't force me to accept another belief. He's only going to work inside of the limited concepts that I still have and try to expand them as we go along.
Yeah. This is a universe with a creation a fabrication. But it happened the same with the fabrication, the dream that we are putting there, that with the truth. This is, like the Course say, this is cause and effect. Then the cause, what is? What you believe and what you think. Yes. The effect is what comes from that. Then the Course says in a very wisely way, God cannot interfere between your cause and your effect.
Correct.
Because he will be going against the law of itself, the law that moves everything.
That's right.
Then he can only wait through his voice, the Holy Spirit. He can only wait that you are ready to open yourself to another possibility. Exactly. That you are ready to see things in another way. When you are ready to see things in another ways, when your inner master, your guide, that is the part of you that remember, is only that, they can come inside and can show you another way. But they cannot interfere, because it will be going against the more important or more fundamental law of creation, that is cause and effect. Then,
because we are the effect of cause. We, as what the Course would call the Son of God, the Christ, we are the extension, the children, the effect of the grand cause, the one cause, which is, God, Source, Creator, Father, no matter the labels. So we are an effect of a grand cause. And so the law of creation that you say, it is an immutable law. There is only cause and effect, and nothing can come between that, no matter how asleep each one is in their dream, no matter how far away from love our beliefs may be, or how deep in fear each one of us may be in their own movie. Nothing can come between what you believe and what you are putting out there to experience, until you stop and say, maybe there's another way. Exactly. Or I'm willing to consider that maybe there's something here that I hadn't considered before. Then then the teacher can come in and say, okay, well, I'll bring the resources, the experiences, the people, the teachings, whatever they may be, that she knows can serve you in that moment
And that you
where
can
you
allow.
are, and that you can allow. Exactly.
Because it's not going to force you to give the steps that you are not ready for.
Exactly.
Then in the way that you are allowing that showing, that new way is in the way that this will come more clear little by little. But
Yeah.
it's depending on us. How much are we open to see? How much are we open to advance, to see things in a different way?
That's right. We are the ones that have to drop the resistance.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
More certainty.
and our certainty. Oh, and I'll tell you, it's funny that you mentioned the word humility, because the course obviously says humility is a lesson for the ego, because and the ego, as a reminder, are just the thoughts, all the beliefs that we have accepted that say that we are separate. We are separate from God. We are bodies. Our minds are in these brains that are separate from other brains, and my thoughts don't affect other thoughts. And so it is this whole thought system that tries to convince the awareness that you are, the consciousness that you are separate. And the ones who, when you accept it, you start to believe, oh yeah, I am this body, I am Moni, I am, this gender female, I am separate from this person here named Alberto, who is male from Spain, and so on. And so the humility aspect, it's interesting. So the only one that needs to learn humility here is ego, because that's a thought system that is completely not real. It's impossible. It's in fact impossible. And it made me, as I was reading, especially what we're going to talk about today, as I was reading my own thoughts about how I felt about this argument that we had that day, I was cringing at myself, because I could see, oh my God, I could feel kind of both my arrogance and my deep fear at the same time. I could feel kind of the pride, the proud, at that time, that kind of that image of somebody who is, very proud, very stubborn, very kind of fixed in her ways, even though she's saying, she's open and she's willing to follow guidance and she wants to learn and all that, but she is very rigid, still very, very hard in her ways, still very fixed in what she thinks is right and what she thinks is wrong. And that, we will tell the story of what happens. But as I was reading my diaries, I'm going, that how must I have come across, especially to you, who just, who was just trying to show me maybe there's another way. And I was saying, no, I do not want to hear it from you. So yeah, this is, it all literally comes about just the day after we have this incredibly powerful, moving, emotional experience with Nico, that man who stopped his car to just opened his wallet wanting to give us money, just saying, hit tears in his eyes, just saying, this is what, wow, amazing. And then followed by this almost otherworldly grandmother figure that shows up in a church and just holds our faces in her hands and is telling us, the Holy Father and the Holy Mother is with you, do not fear, everything, you're taken care of, just keep walking. It was just completely otherworldly. Like, it felt like the entire universe had just stepped in at that moment, because I was having a bad day. I was having a hard day, feeling like I was very exposed, very vulnerable. Nobody cared about the message. Nobody cared about what we were doing. They just thought we were a joke. And it felt, in the moment I dropped my resistance a little bit, love just revealed itself in a very powerful way. So that was literally the day before in Rimini, actually just north of Rimini. I think it was a town called Viserba. That was episode 15, the previous episode, if you want to look at it.
That we recommend that you hear, that you listen. If you have not listened, because that was a very good one.
Yeah, so it was episode 15 called Release.
And think too about, it's not only what happened, it's all the emotions that this woke up in us, because we were crying and we were, because we could see it's not only what happened in the worldly ways. We were feeling the hands of God. We were feeling the love of God. We were feeling too how she was saying to us, I told you, you are not alone. You don't need to worry. You are going to receive anything that you need. People love you. What you are doing is really helping. It's really, even when sometimes doesn't. And there was so many amazing messages that came with that experiences. And yeah, that was the day before of this.
And we promise I will never forget this. I'm going to feel this love and this presence and this peace every moment. I'm never going to forget until we start walking the next day. And it's a cold morning. And I have in my diaries, the road was icy. The path was icy because we were walking beside the ocean. We're still along the Adriatic coast going north of Rimini. And the path, it was icy. The sidewalk was icy.
Yeah, and I saw in my diary, reading my diary, that beside us passed a girl in a motorcycle, and she fell. She fell because she slipped, and she fell with the ice or with the snow. And I went, I held her, and I bring the bike up, and I had that in my diary. Now that you say, and I forgot that there was so many experiences that we have, and. Yeah, it was a cold morning. Yeah,
I have that it was minus 15 Celsius in my diaries, and that we had to be very careful walking because the sidewalk was very slippery, which kind of surprised me because I'm thinking we're beside the water. Shouldn't that make it like a little warmer? Why are we walking on ice? I felt like I was back in Ottawa. I've got all my layers on and I'm walking on ice beside the ocean or beside the sea, beside the Adriatic Sea. So just a bit of a disconnect that morning. Yeah. And we were just walking, and on one stretch you pulled up beside me and you said to me, Moni, I think we should start accepting the money that people want to give us. That's kind of how it began.
Yeah. I had not that in my diary said in that way, but obviously I remember that something like that was.
That's how I have it in my diary. Yeah. And I immediately, my back was up. And my first response, without even contemplating, without even thinking, without even taking a deep breath, was no, there is no way that we are going to accept money. And your argument was actually a very good one. You were saying, but there are people who want to support this walk. There are people who want to contribute to this path of peace that we are walking. And many people already do it in different ways. They give you a panettone, they give you the wine, they give you hugs, they give you encouragement, they honk their horn, they open their homes, they offer you meals, they open the door to the monastery. So they are supporting you already. So why can't we just accept money as just another form that people are using to support this walk? And I couldn't express myself well enough at that moment, because for me, what it felt like money was a different line. It was, for me, in my mind back then, it felt like, and this is what I said to you, and I regretted it as soon as I said it, it's like, no, I think they are giving to what they think are two poor pilgrims who need the money. And they are not supporting the path of peace or the cause of peace, but to people that they have judged as being needy. And I am not needy. I don't need charity. I don't take charity. And those are the words that came out of my mouth before I could stop them, because I was so angry and I had my back up. And I felt you also at the same time become a little bit, I think you were hurt more than anything else by the words, and you kind of stiffened. And then there was, like, in addition to the cold around us, there was a cold in between us.
I don't remember exactly, because I didn't write, my diaries, and I think happened to you too. We didn't write the diaries every day, but when we had time and we had a place where we could sit and to write them. Then these things in my diary are written 2-3 days later, and are very summarized, in points. And I had that we had this conversation about the money, and you were not happy with the idea, and you were saying no, and I tried to give you another perspective. Then, but I don't see so hard. Or maybe at that time I did more than now, but I see that from the perspective that you were talking, like we were saying before, it's easy that you try to defend the work that you were the mission that you felt that you have, and you didn't want that was misunderstood, or that people could think that there was another interest there. Obviously, and you knew that, I was thinking in money for to cover the basic expense that we have, that was food or or I don't know, any expenses that could come. It was not obviously for any other reason, but I could
And
understand.
also, we didn't interrupt you, but you were saying when you started this walk, you were told very clearly
Yeah, yeah.
by, the loving presence saying, I will take care of all of your
Exactly.
needs. And so I will make sure that you receive everything that you need. So you were walking with that faith and with
Yeah.
that confidence saying, I'm going to be receiving whatever I need to make this journey well. But now here's Moni saying, no, you can't receive. Moni is putting a barrier there saying, no, because I don't want to be perceived as someone who is, a poor pilgrim or somebody who needs, who needs money, especially for me, especially when I had the money. That was the other thing.
Yeah, that-
That
I
was kind of the
understand
biggest
that.
thing for me. I did not want to be misrepresented. It's like, no, I have money, but I just happen to be in a situation where I am walking with someone, and I have chosen to walk in this way because I felt that, God, the universe, whatever, was guiding me to walk with him in this way. And I was still struggling with this way of walking, when I could very easily just go to a hotel and just pay for the night's lodging.
For that, I say that I understood because it was clear you didn't. You felt like you were lying
Yeah,
if you
true.
get the money when you didn't need, and for that reason, even you told in some moment after to talk about this, you say, okay, well, we say that the money is for you.
That's right.
And it looked at the beginning that maybe you were putting away the responsibility of to take that money, but in some way it was true that it was being truthful. So I don't need the money. He is the one that needed. And okay, but then I think my proud too was a little in the middle. No, so okay, what is that? But then I thought, okay, is this need to be that way? I understood. I go, okay, but we do it. There is nothing to be ashamed. There is nothing to be, we are being truthful. She can do it. I had united to this path, this walk, after she had been prepared for a long time. And
A long time, let's be
well,
clear. A couple of months, no?
a couple
2
of
months, yeah.
but a long time, more than me. And I didn't have the resources to do it at that time. And then I am doing because in faith, I really believe that I am going to receive what I needed. For another part, maybe we could say too that it was proud for my part that they didn't want to accept your help, because
And that was another thing
because
that we should mention, because I offered, for
you
example,
offer
I
many
offered
many
to pay.
times.
I also offered to kind of say, why don't I loan you the money? Why don't I
Yeah.
just loan you an amount and you can pay it back? And you're saying no.
No,
And
no,
then-
because I knew this. I put a loan. I was always very careful with the loans.
Yeah.
Because it's like you are a slave for the future, for
That's
life.
Yeah.
And then I prefer not to do that. And still today, I don't like the loans.
Because there's also and this is kind of what I was struggling with at the same time,
Yeah.
now that you mention it, which is that in the moment, and for me, it wasn't as much, if I received, there was this belief in me that if I received, I am now obligated to pay it back. I am indebted.
Yeah.
I am indebted.
Yeah.
I cannot just receive without any strings, which is what everybody was offering. Nobody was saying, pay me back. Nobody was
No,
giving
no.
any conditions. It was
People
all
were
offered
very happily.
lovingly,
Yeah.
with open hearts and truly wanting this.
Like the contribution. And that
Exactly.
was clear because in some moment there was any doubt. And if we would have noticed that there was any doubt that people thought that we needed, that we were poor, we would have immediately correct that misunderstanding or that misinterpretation. But it was not the case. We could see that people really wanted, they knew what we were doing. We were walking for peace to Jerusalem, and they knew that we would have expensive. And they wanted to help, to contribute, right? To say, and there was a guy
That will come later,
That
yeah.
will come later. That told us very clear when we say to him, that it's not we don't need. We have no, but I want to contribute with what you were doing, Then in that way, of course, if I was going to accept money, was going to be in that way, no, because like begging, no, but because somebody saw the dignity and the wonderful thing that we were
the
doing,
value.
and the value of what
And the
we were doing,
importance of what
and
we
they
were doing.
wanted to contribute
Yeah.
in their way because they couldn't work with us.
Right.
They wanted to contribute in the way, and in the way, yes, for sure. I didn't want charity either, but I can understand all the feelings and all the things that came at that time, and especially because still at that time you thought that you you are in charge of this mission.
This was still my
You,
pilgrimage, and you were
was your
joining.
idea.
Yeah.
You are the one, and then I was some kind of somebody that had come later to this.
Yeah.
Then I understand, but still the same that you had your issues at that time, I had mine, and in some moments I feel a little offended or I feel a little that way. But it's how I tell you now. I see all this like a movie. I see like
Exactly, same,
characters in a
same,
movie
same.
that they are learning. They are
That's
learning
right.
lessons. They are learning to how to manage their emotions. They are learning to understand things from another perspective, in another way. They are like children that are going to school and they are learning to see themselves in another way and to see the world in another way. And that is what I think our guide was bringing us to and was pointing us all the time. And for that, I think it's beautiful. I wouldn't judge, because
No,
if we judge
of
this,
course,
we are
of
falling
course.
in the main problem here. We are judging from, but no, I will try to see that characters in our movie with love and with the true good intentions that we have at that time. We made mistakes, for sure, like everybody made mistakes, but it's because simply we didn't know yet what we needed to learn, then
And what we needed to remember.
and we
Because
needed to exactly to learn is to remember.
To remember, really.
The course is very clear about
Yeah.
that.
For me, I think especially what this was showing me, as I was mentioning earlier, was just this rigid person, this very fixed person, this very proud, an arrogant person that just thought they knew. No, no, no. I'm not. I'm not speaking about. I'm kind of separating it as this is the image.
character.
This is the character, right? This is the image of this pilgrim who was walking, who believed she had the means to be able to pay for whatever she needed. If there was a problem, she just pulled out her wallet or went to the bank machine and was able to resolve things very easily by using money. And never did the thought of receiving money, receiving help, receiving what she considered things that she didn't need from anybody, because she took great pride in being independent. And I'll say that, in quotation marks, being independent, self-sufficient, again, in quotations, not needing anybody else. She took great pride in that. And so for her back then, the very mere suggestion that somebody was looking upon her as somebody who needs, or somebody who, is poor in any way, offended her. It was a great offense, and her pride and her arrogance rose right to the top. She was very comfortable giving. She was very comfortable being, giving to all. But in the moment that someone just wanted to give to her, she didn't know how to receive. That was the biggest barrier. And I think that's what the Holy Spirit was trying to teach me, to teach this Moni back then, was to learn
to open your mind,
to drop these barriers, because those ideas, those beliefs were specifically the barriers to peace. They were the barriers that she was putting up to not really receive fully. So on one level, there was, and the Course takes it a little bit further, because she doesn't know how to receive, because she doesn't feel worthy of receiving. She doesn't know how to receive. She's always been in a position where giving, she's been taught that give, and give more. And that's what makes you, feel good about who you are. And receiving is like, well, you've got to do something to receive. You can't just receive and do nothing. You have to have somehow earned it or, needed it in some way. You don't just get it for nothing. And so those are kind of the thoughts that, Moni was struggling with at that time. And so the Course would correct that, on one hand, to say she's got to learn how to first, heal all of these ideas that your worth does not come from anything defined by the world, whether it's your bank account and how much money you have in your wallet. That's not where your worth comes from. But there's another layer to this, and also, learning how to receive graciously. The deeper lesson, the deeper remembering of the Course is one step further. It is trying to bring you to the awareness that who you are is already complete, is already whole. There is nothing to give or to receive. There is no losing or gaining. There is only the awareness of the wholeness and the totality and the fullness of what God created as, call it His Son, the Christ, the totality, the extension. And that extension, that Son of God, the Christ, is whole. And in that sense, complete. And if you want to use the word rich, opulent, full, there's the whole idea of need, the whole idea of giving, receiving, the whole idea of losing does not exist. But I wasn't anywhere near
You were
that
not near
understanding.
that.
I was just trying to receive.
You were not near that, and I was either. So we were not close to that. And Spirit knew, we call it Spirit,
Yeah.
the
The
or
Holy
guide,
Spirit, the
the
guide,
Holy
yeah.
Spirit, or
Teacher.
inner teacher, or greatest friend, the part of us that remember who we are. He knew. Then he could bring us little by little to this understanding. But still, he saw us with loving
Of
eyes,
course, of
always.
course.
And it's an invitation to see ourselves too. In that way, because that you are saying, this is what this world teaches us.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
this world. Okay, we are putting this world there, but we are putting this world, and this world is can, even when we are putting this, because we are believing that is real, this world in the way that we see it, we are putting this, allowing this world in this way because we believe that it's real and separate from us. These ideas come from, look from generations. The ego world, how the course called, it comes from generations. Like everybody in our world, in our dream, think that way. You need to deserve to gain the money. You need to deserve to
be worthy to receive it.
to receive. You need to give. For to receive, you need to give something.
That's right.
You cannot receive because you are simply a son of God or valuable. You had born in this world, you deserve to receive. No, that idea, no. You need to sweat and to sweat
To
with demonstrate your value, to do
your worth.
things that, even I grow with this idea that to work a job is not to be happy. A job is to pay your food and your house and to feed your family. So a job is not that creative. When I wanted to be an artist, when I was a child, and I wanted to be an artist or to do something beautiful, they laugh of me. So, no, that is not a work. A job is to get un pico y una pala. How you say that?
Yeah, it's like the image of the Flintstones is coming into my mind. To go work in the quarry,
exactly,
and to
in the
dig
mine,
in the mines,
or in to do that is work.
That's
That what you are saying is a
labor
hobby.
hard.
What you're saying is a hobby, is something that you enjoy. That is not a job. Here we need to sweat and to suffer. To suffer to
and there's
gain
dignity in that.
Yeah, and there is dignity. This kind of job gives you dignity.
That's right.
To suffer gives you dignity. It'll help you to learn what is the world and how
And
you.
it builds character.
It builds character,
Builds
exactly.
strength, yeah,
And
all
all
of
these
that.
stories. Then what you are saying before, what you believe that you cannot receive without give something before. You say you had not learned to that. I didn't have learned that either, because I had the same issue in my story, in my parents and my society, and this will show after more ahead in the journey. Because when after in the journey I was separate from you, and I was spoiler, and I was in Medjugorje, and I was without a coin in my pocket because I had give everything to show myself that I didn't need the money. I had give everything. I was receiving money from people, no money for food and a room in a place that was so poor. I felt that I needed to pay back. I couldn't get and to say thank you simply. I needed to pay back. And then I started to work with the people in the fields and to do things instead of to center in the real reason for what I was there. I forgot my spiritual mission. I forgot that I needed to see things from this perspective where I had everything, how you have said, that we are son of God, that we deserve simply for to be in this world in the way. And that was the vision that I needed to spread, not the vision that I'm going to pay you for the favor that you are doing to me. When the people was giving with the open heart.
That's right.
With the open heart, they were opening the doors, and I was still feeling that I needed obligated to pay back. Then I had that belief too with me. And for that, I probably I was projecting that belief in yourself,
Exactly.
and you were projecting that belief
Exactly
in myself in this situation. How the course will teach. Then it's very interesting. It's very interesting to see all this story and how things develop and all the things that we needed to learn in this process.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, because it is very powerful. And one of the important, yeah, one of the important lessons of this course, and it's one of the lessons that's in the workbook, is God is my source. God is my source. And the forms in which this source reveals itself in form in the world are not up to me. And though the forms that will show up is taken care of. But the source of these forms is not the form itself. The source is God. The source is Creator. The source is the one who is taking care of the sun, and all apparent needs that they may appear to have inside of the dream are taken care of in the measure that spirit knows are not going to delay the awakening and the journey home, the return home of the sleeping Son of God. Yeah.
Yeah, or they are not going to interfere with your belief that are putting there the situations in the way, and the problems and the troubles that we are putting there is not going to interfere. Again, it's not going to fight against your mind. It's going to help to flow with your mind in the way that you can open and little by little to accept.
Exactly.
Because, we come from a source that is unlimited. God is unlimited. God is everything. There is nothing that is outside of God. God is everything.
God is.
There is nothing that there is no lack in God. And He created us, and He hid Himself in us. Then we are the same that He is. Hallelujah. We can.
Amen.
And really, there is no necessity.
That's right.
It's our belief in need, or belief in lack, or belief in scarcity, what is being projected, because still our minds are powerful, because come from the power of God. We came from His mind, and we are using, or with our mistakes, we are using our minds in a bad way, wrongly. And we are putting there, projecting fantasies about the scarcities and all these problems. We know that is the course teach. For that reason, we need to forgive the illusions that we have put there, not real problems, the illusions that we have put there, and to forgive ourselves for to have fall in that illusions. But
Yeah, and I just want to remind, listeners, that the forgiveness of the course refers to allowing these false ideas to be corrected in our minds, so that the truth can be returned to our awareness. The truth of our wholeness, our fullness, our identity as Son of God can be returned to our awareness. That's the forgiveness, not like, I didn't know any, not of the world. No, exactly. But this forgiveness inside the course context has a very specific meaning of correcting errors that we have accepted as being true. Yeah, you wanted to say something else before we continue?
I wanted to add to again because I was remembering today reading the diaries this idea that we need to pay back when somebody show kindness to us or love to us. We need to pay. It's like we are obligated to give. No, so it's like you receive, you need to give right away, and instead of to simply like God does, He gives. Without expecting receiving anything in the same way we should do. This belief, it was so in my system too, that if you remember, one of the things that we say at the beginning, that immediately we stop to say because nobody never say yes, please, it was when we came to the places to ask for help, for a roof. We say we don't need money, we don't need food, we only need a roof over our head, and I am ready to do any work that you need to pay back for that.
Yes, I remember.
And we at the beginning we say that a few times, but even it started to sound bad. And the people, it was because we saw people were happy, excited for what we were doing. Why we needed to pay back? Is we were not doing this for ourselves. O sea, for ourselves, like Alberto and Moni, for their own interest, glorification, or beyond the mission of peace for the world that we were working. It was not. It's like we need the people were giving to Alberto and money for their own interest. And no, people were helping us because we were doing something for the whole world, for all brothers and sisters, something beautiful, something altruist, something that altruistic that comes from the heart, and the people wanted to contribute to that. Then immediately, even when we didn't think this clearly in this way, or we resonate this, we reason this in this way, we could feel that offer it had not a place anymore. But when I was alone later, as I told you before, when I was in Medjugorje, I fell in that. Because I saw so much need, and people were giving me what they have, and I needed, no, but I'm going to pay you back. And even the people say, no, you don't need to do. No, I'm going to, because I feel well doing this. And it's not that it's wrong. The only thing is that I started to lose my way, because I started to be more in the world, and to give reality to the scarcities of the world, and how the world expects that you pay back for kindness and for love. That shouldn't be that way, never. No.
Again, there is the interpretation of the world. And then there is the interpretation and the corrected perception that the Holy Spirit or the inner teacher is trying to bring us to. While we still identify as being separate, the best that he can do is to correct our perceptions and our ideas and our interpretations of what it means to give and to receive. And we're not talking just about money. We are also talking about love. Especially love, and he's trying to correct them so that they come as close as possible while we are still inside these, we're still perceiving ourselves as inside bodies, trying to correct them so that we understand what the love of God means, the love of the Creator, the love of Source, which only knows to keep extending its wholeness and its perfection and its purity and its innocence and its abundance. It is all that is, and all that is only knows just to keep extending it's all that isness, for lack of a better word. And so that's what the inner teacher is trying to bring us back to. And the best that he, she, it can do is correct our perceptions and interpretations in the measure that we allow that to happen. That's all.
And the problem here is that until you don't let go of that ideas of scarcity and that the world is that way, and you need to pay back to love with work or with anything valuable, you are going to continue seeing that in your world. You are projecting that because the world is a reflection of your thinking, of your thoughts, and your beliefs. It's simply that until your mind doesn't change about that and about many other things, like who you really are and what the world is, and that your brothers and sisters are loving like their creator are, until you don't change your mind about that, you are not going to see it in your experience.
That's exactly right.
And that, then that is part of our function. For that, our function is to forgive.
To allow all this to be undone, corrected.
Undone in our mind.
That's
That is so important. And that is what we were doing. When we were walking to Jerusalem, we were learning to see and to understand our mind, and to see the power of our mind, and to see what was right and what not. And that was the path that we were walking. And how we will see more ahead how all that was bringing to the same conclusions.
Yeah. Well, we certainly weren't there back then. I'll speak for myself. I wasn't there back then. Obviously, we were still walking with a lot of fears and beliefs and judgments. And so that was really, by the time we arrived at our destination later that day, there was still tension between us. It wasn't easy between us. And all I will say is we arrived at an affluent seaside town. Very affluent. They had beautiful boats, if you remember this, Alberto, that were in a harbor. And the boats, many of the boats had different nativity scenes that were on the boats themselves. So it's as if the entire port had one nativity scene after another, just beautifully decorated. And it was just so beautiful. And Christmas lights everywhere.
Especially in the night, it was beautiful.
Because we arrived a little bit later in the day. And walking in, even though there was still a little bit of distance between Alberto and I, the people, when they saw us coming in, many people stopped us, oh, hi, what are you doing? And some wanted pictures with us. It was all, very sweet and very kind. And they pointed us to the nearest church, which coincidentally had the name of Saint James Apostle. the apostle. Giacomo, I think was it. Giacomo.
James.
That's right, Saint James or Jacob and Jacob. Anyway,
that was the El Camino de Santiago, Saint James path where we meet. No, then it was always a nice thing to see the church of Santiago, or Saint James, or San Giacomo in Italy. No.
Yeah. And so we walked into the church, a very opulent, very beautiful, very grand marble, beautiful paintings everywhere, grand, just spectacular church. We walk in, always feeling a little bit out of place. We're looking for the priest so that we can ask for a place to stay. And, as we're coming in, there are parishioners who are there, and many of them welcomed us. Like, hello, and who are you, and what are you doing? And we were explaining, and they were so kind.
So excited. They were so excited about us. I remember that at least there was 12 people there, and majority men, very kind. And they were very loving, and they were asking questions about what we were doing, and really was very, very inspiring to see.
They were lifting us maybe a little bit out of the funk that we were in, and making us kind of remember that what we're doing is valuable. Don't let this thing that is apparently happening between you bring you down. Let it be healed in a way, and allow. There's lots of goodness. There's lots of love around you. Accept that.
Yeah, they were not saying that specifically,
no.
but it's what we felt.
The invitation was there.
Because there was a lot of love there, obviously.
Clearly.
It was beautiful. Really, the people, it was really beautiful.
Yeah.
And then came the priest that at the beginning he was showing the same kindness and the same excitement.
Yeah.
Until in one moment he asked a question, and I think he didn't like the answer. No? And was not the question if we were Christians.
No.
we would know what would have happened if he would have asked that question. But what was the question, Moni, you remember?
He said, "Are you married?"
Yes.
Are you married?
Oh, then are you married? Then?
Yeah. It's like, no, we are not married. We learned very quickly how to say the word friends in every language during our walk. But in that's like, no, amici, friends.
And it's true that nobody believed in when we say that for a long time, especially in Italy and after. Nobody believed that we were simply friends, two pilgrims with a mission.
Purpose.
We were talking. We are working for peace. It's not enough that to have a common wish, a common call. We are working for peace.
A common purpose.
A common purpose. I think it's enough. You don't need to be married to do that. But the people, I think, they didn't believe us. We were projecting that disbelief in them.
Because the projections continued with this priest, because his face changed in the moment that we said that no, we're not married, and then he made an unusual comment, which was, "Oh, well then, I hope that you're not doing this as some kind of grand adventure."
No, he didn't.
No, wasn't that?
He said that, but what he said. Well, this is what I remember, because in my diary I had not written, but this was stay recorded in my mind, in my memory. But maybe you are right. Maybe he said that. The point is, it is the same. What I remember that he says, "Oh, then you are not doing a pilgrimage." Dismissing what you are doing is adventure. You are having a great adventure, and I could see how the people around us, their face change. They feel sad, looking like they feel ashamed of the comment. Like you feel. I feel that you feel rage, anger immediately. Because I saw the light, you move it, and I felt more sadness because I felt that I had been judged in that way. But I could see like the faces of the people around that they were so kind with us, like they were a little. The priest had gone a little far away.
Too far. Yeah.
Too far. Yeah.
Because my response to him was, "Well, I can show you my maps if you would like."
Your blisters.
Yeah, my blisters and my maps. And that wasn't a very good comment to make, but I did make that. Oh, no, it's okay. And so what I should have said was thank you and continued onwards. But at that moment, it just felt like I was being assaulted on every level, and I was being judged. I felt like I was standing there like a little girl, like a child, trying to justify what it is that I'm doing before this, authority figure telling me, no, you're not a real pilgrim, and what you're doing is not really important. You're just on a big adventure. And it just felt like that's not what I needed to hear at the end of the day. Even though, we were surrounded by loving people, there was that voice of authority, that voice that says that what you're doing is unimportant. You're just on an adventure. And maybe it was just another way of, that part of that projection, that voice in my own mind, which was saying to me, trying to diminish the worth of what it is that was happening, trying to diminish the value of, this pilgrimage that we were on. But in the end, he said, no, no, I have something for you. I have a place for you. And
But
he had a room.
the attitude changed. He still helped us. He received us, but obviously he was not.
He was not convinced.
He was not convinced. The people, yes, the people still around. It was still very kind and very nice. I could see they were even apologetic, but the priest was a little. I think he had made an assumption. He had judged in some way, and I think in that way maybe even he felt after that he was had gone a little far, but he maintained his posture.
He didn't change his
He
opinion.
didn't change his opinion.
Yeah. And we were led to a church hall. It was a room that was cold. It had no heating. There was no water. There was no water. There was no place to sleep. And there were tables. I do remember that there were tables, so we could at least put our sleeping bags on tables, so we could sleep on tables off the cold floor, the marble floor, obviously.
Exactly. And they told us that the water cannot be drink because because it was yellow.
That's right.
Interesting. No, interesting because, thing. It was interesting. And okay, we say thank you, and there was no heater, exactly, you have said that, and we say thank you, and we went to do our things and to the room.
Wet wipes? Were there washrooms? There must have been washrooms.
No, washrooms
we freshened up.
We couldn't drink the water, it's only.
And then afterwards, I think all that happened was, I think you may have gone out for a walk. You went out for a walk.
You went to bed.
I was exhausted on all levels. I didn't want to speak with you anymore. I just wanted the day to end. I just got into the sleeping bag and ate whatever was there, whatever we had, and went to sleep until the next morning. But you had an experience that night, which you didn't tell me about until much later.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that I forgot, but I forgot for a while until I read it in my diaries today, because we didn't put this history is
not in the book.
It's not in the book.
Right.
Because I think we went out to get a walk too, because since we talked with the priest until we went to bed, passed a little of
I don't have that in my
some
diaries,
hours.
but okay, because
But in the night, when we went to bed, I couldn't sleep because I felt a little, in my mind was the thing that had happened, maybe our conversation or little discussion, or disagreement, this argument. And after it was too, especially this thing that hurt me at that time. I didn't know that we are not separate, that we are not, that we are projecting. Exactly, it's still projection. There is nobody there outside to blame. It's I am myself that is putting my own belief there. At that time, I didn't know that, and then this make my little heart was feeling I don't deserve this.
It was the Grinch.
Exactly. And then I standed because the room where we were the door was open, and then I tried to look if there was water maybe in another place around. Or there was another room, or I don't know. And I am not sure. I think I went to get a walk simply around for the area that was open. No, there was two like classes, catechesis classes. And then I went, and close to us there was another room, a big room like the one that we were. And then I saw that in that room there was heating, and there was big tables, and they had like the panettone and still drinks that the day before maybe there was some kind of celebration or something with children, or I don't know what was, and still they had not cleaned. And there was food, and there was water, and there was heating in that room. Why we were in a room that had no heating? Why? I thought, there is an axioma in the axiom in the for the pilgrims. The pilgrims El Camino de Santiago. The pilgrim doesn't demand. He only say thank you,
and then the tourist demands.
The tourist demand exactly,
and the pilgrim gives thanks.
Gives thanks, and in that way, I wanted to do that, but I was not feeling. I was not feeling that, especially because maybe I felt that we had been judged too. That what we were doing was not valuable, and then I felt that more like adding to the what I felt was a rejection, and then I was feeling bad and a little bad, and then I started to speak with God, with my guide, because I did that a lot. For that, I went to my walks every time that we arrived to a place. I went to my walk, and in my mind I spoke with God or with my guide, and I could see signs, and I could see, words that jump from a sign or from a place, and I could feel the love, the presence, and it's what I did that night. And then I started to receive signs about all was good. All this had a intention. We were doing well. There is only love for you here. These signs never speak you bad about other people.
Yeah.
Never increment your judgment or increase your judgment about other people. It's only they remind you of the love that there is everywhere,
Yeah.
and the love that there is inside you, and help you to value yourself, and to value the good intentions that you have, even in a place where still you don't understand what is happening and you are making mistakes. It's there, it's telling, and that is what I felt that night. And I remember that I was walking, I saw, I stepped something, and was a Christmas card in the floor that I stepped over, where there was a loving figure, an angel, saying Merry Christmas, and for me was, between that and other things and other sensations that I had with me, I felt that is what God was telling me. Then, and then came the next morning, and came the moment to say goodbye.
You're giving me the look. Yeah, because it was, I guess I went to sleep, and I was obviously didn't sleep well either, cold and on tables and stuff, and I was still feeling bad, and I was still feeling guilty, and I was still feeling upset.
Because you wanted to show strength, but you were feeling like a little child that had been.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was I felt like a little girl who was just being, dismissed and told, no, what you're doing isn't important. I was feeling judged, just like when earlier I was judging you. But, that's, again, the projections going back and forth. I'm judging you, and then I'm being judged. And it's like, it's all, it's all ego trying to keep the separation alive, trying to keep, keep pointing fingers outside. Don't look at cause, keep the cause outside. It's their fault. It's them who's judging. It's them who thinks badly of you. It's them who doesn't understand you. Not to look within and say, well, maybe I have painted an image of myself that isn't completely accurate based on my own judgments of myself and my fears and my beliefs and the hardness, the unwillingness to let go of my own ideas. So, but I wasn't there yet. All I felt when I went to the church was, I'm going to teach this man a lesson. I'm laughing now.
You didn't tell me.
No, but I'm sure you saw it in my.
No,
well, as soon as we found him, and he was there. We said to him, "Thank you." We were being very, very polite, very, just saying thank you very much. And I said, by the way, if you would like, we would be happy to make a donation to your church. And he just looked at me, and I could tell that he was.
He said, "No."
I saw kind of a little bit the discomfort, which was what I was looking for. I wanted him to feel the judgment that he had judged me. It's just all so twisted when you think about it. Because fear, this is that's right. And so I could feel his discomfort, and I was glad for it. I'll say it.
I was looking to another way too.
Anyways, he said, no, just pray for us. This is what he said. He goes, just pray for us.
Okay, but that was a great answer.
And just pray for us, and have a good journey. And that was that. So it wasn't, it wasn't like, I wasn't, at that moment, I had not let it go, and I had not decided to start fresh and look upon this priest as, maybe as you had, even you felt sad because you thought he doesn't understand us. You took the route of being sad. I took the route of being angry.
Oh, and sure, the sadness was in
it was
you too.
yeah, but no,
Oh,
I was more angry, and at the
maybe.
priest specifically I was angry, and I kind of acted in consequence of that. Obviously now, as you know, after we have all the things that we have spoken about in this episode, you know, it's easy kind of to see it from this perspective, how we were just continually looking outside, and trying to, you know, keep looking and to blame other people outside. Ego was trying to, you know, keep separation alive, as I was saying, keep looking to judge and to blame and to point the finger outside, rather than pause for a moment and go inwards and ask, you know, maybe what is happening really here? What are the judgments that are preventing me, and the fears that are preventing me from seeing truly, from seeing my brother and what joins me to my brother, beyond this projection and beyond these judgments back and forth, all of it, all of which is mine. And so that I wasn't there yet. I didn't know any of that. I can say that now, obviously with more clarity and more understanding, with a greater sense of peace. But that is something that I would obviously add to the experience of that day. Yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't know that at that time, and I think at that time, but at that time we had something very good already, and it was growing and growing more and more, and was being evident that, and really, and this was a mantra that we use all the time. That if you remember,
Yeah.
from the very beginning, we were always saying people is
People are
good,
good.
it's only afraid, or they don't know,
They don't
or they don't know, or they're afraid, or they misunderstand things, and for that reason maybe they don't answer, or they don't react in the real way that we will do. They will do is they will know better.
Yeah.
And that for us was a mantra, and we knew, and at that time we believed it, that if we thought in that way, we will attract people in that way, and all experiences will reflect that. At that time, we knew that, because I had studied, and you too, a lot about the power of mind, and we knew that you center in that. That is what the experience that you bring to your life. The big difference with the Course in Miracles, that the Course in Miracles is saying you are not attracting good people and rejecting and putting away bad people, you know, or people that doesn't act in that way. What you are doing is simply putting is a mirror there.
That's right.
And if you believe that the people is good and everybody is good, that is what you are going to see in your experience. Still, the belief that we had at that time is that there was good people.
That's right.
Well, it's not that there was good people and bad people. For us, everybody was good, but there was people that react from the goodness that they have, and people that still react from fear.
That's right.
and from mistakes. No, and the more that you center in the good people, that was the people that you were going to receive in your life. That is what we believe, and we could see that everywhere. Still, we believe that there was people that could react in other way. We didn't see that the people that acted badly, we could say in quotation badly, even when they were good people in essence, they acted badly. We didn't see that reactions were still a projection of our own expectation and our own belief in separation.
That's right. And our own judgments, and our own fears, all the things that we still needed to work through.
Exactly. Then in some way we believe in the power of mind to attract positive.
That's right.
You know, for to attract the positive, but still we believe that there was negative in the world, or reaction negative, even when come from misunderstanding or from fear. No, and then we give reality to this world. Still, we didn't show clearly that was a matrix, or was a simulation, or was a dream like today we see it. Then we were in the process to learn all that, but that was a good thing. And the good thing, how I say, is that already we were believing that people in essence were good, that the Son of God is innocent, that the Son of God is pure. The only thing is that when he doesn't know, he makes mistakes. And then we thought that people were making mistakes with us. And that is what made me feel sad, you know, that somebody had made a mistake, a good person had made a mistake, and he had judged us, you know, in that way. And today we know better, but still we see with love what happened in that moment, in that process of the learning, or the remembering, how you say before.
Yeah, as we just said this entire episode, the Holy Spirit, or our teacher, can only meet us where we are, and cannot take us any further than we are willing to be open to go. And at that time, we still, like you said, the bridge that we had back then was, okay, all people are good, they just act from a place of fear. But in essence, all people are good, because the essence of humans, the human being, because we are all, yes. So we had that, but we still maintained that we are separate. So, my soul, my spirit, your soul, your spirit. And so we kept this idea of separation alive, but at least it was a bridge towards where we are now. It was, still, but it still kept separation. But we were, like you said, we were in that journey. If I had come across the course, say 25 years ago, I would never have understood a single thing that it was talking about. I needed where I was 25 years ago to work through all of those teachings, to apply them. And that's really what we were doing on this pilgrimage. We were applying and living all that we had learned up until that point, which were, the Neil Donald Walshes, the Deepak Chopra, the Louise Hay, all what would be considered, Paulo Coelho, all what would be considered, the Christian metaphysics for you, Wayne Dyer, Connie Mendes for you. Yeah, so we were doing all of that.
Too, the Buddha, the shamanic.
For you, I would say more than for me,
Yeah.
So all of that, we were putting it all into practice. And, some of the things we could see how we could apply it and how it was bringing benefits, but other things, still we had a lot still to remember and to unlearn, really. We had a lot of unlearning still to do, and that's really what this pilgrimage was about.
Yeah, but the good thing of all that, even we had followed many paths, we had studied many paths, still the more important was the listening to the inner master.
Correct, I agree.
And that is something that connects with the Course in Miracles 100%. Right away, and it's for that what has bring us where we are today. Still, we were, over all things, we were listening to the inner master. Independent of the teacher, we didn't listening to the different teachers of the world. Over all things, we listened to the inner master, and he was the one that was pointing us to one teacher, to one teaching, and help us to interpret it, all of them, all these different paths and religions, like the same path in essence, the same path that was bringing, all of them was bringing us to the same goal, to the same self that we really are.
Yeah.
Then at that time we knew that, and we were already practicing that. Yeah. But still there was so many beliefs in the middle, many obstacles, many things that we thought that was in that way, many decisions that still we thought that we needed to make by ourselves, because we were afraid to lose the control totally and to trust totally in this guidance. But we were doing, little by little, we were doing more and more.
Yeah. Step by step. And in the presence of the one who was leading, who led us, who was leading us then, who continues to lead us in every single moment, who walks with us and who will gladly show us the way if we but be willing to step aside a little bit and to open our minds to another way of understanding everything that is apparently happening to us, where we appear to be at the mercy of the world around us. So we hope you enjoyed this latest episode of our podcast. We certainly did. I think there was a lot that we covered here today.
Yeah, a lot.
So we thank you for walking with us again today, Pilgrim Friend, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Until then, buen camino.
Buen camino.